Hey there. Yeah, it's been a little while here, probably about a week or so. I'll have to check since I did my last video. Well, I have a good reason there, folks. I was sick. I mean, very, very sick. I thought it was strep throat. I was told by the doctors it was not. It sure felt like strep, and it was definitely a infection, a mouth infection. One of my tonsils, my right tonsil, I'm pointing out what looks like my left tonsil to you, but my right tonsil had swollen up the size of an apple. And, it had white spots on it, and it was bacterial. It wasn't strep. I don't know what it was. The doctors told me what it was, and I got it written down over here somewhere. A long word. Some kind of infection. It was the worst. Now, the reason I kept thinking it was strep is because it felt just like strep, except I didn't have a fever. I went to the doctor to make sure it wasn't corona. You've literally heard every possible symptom could be corona these days, and I just wanted to make sure that wasn't what it was. It was not corona. But it was messing me up big time. Like, I couldn't swallow. I would lie down and go to sleep, and I felt like I was suffocating. I have sleep apnea, which I might have talked about before, but so I already struggle breathing when I'm sleeping because of my weight and my narrow passages in my nose and all these other things that add up. Well, this just happened to amplify all of that stuff big time, and man, it was terrifying. And to not be able to sleep, I tried taking medicine on my own before I went to the doctor, and then they sorted me out. But I wanted to die. It was so painful. And I couldn't even talk. I couldn't talk. I couldn't breathe, couldn't drink, couldn't eat. I was just like a zombie. It was the worst. Feeling much better today. I'm feeling so much better today. Look, folks, and that brings me to the topic of today's video, is gratitude. There's so much in this world to be grateful for. And I see so many people that are not only not grateful, they're hateful. And I was thinking about that as a title. It sounds a little cheesy, be grateful, not hateful. But man, that's exactly what I want to talk about here. We've got all this extra time in our world compared to our ancestors. I used to combat SJWs when they'd tell me how bad things are and how, different groups of people have oppressed other groups of people and how all of these things have been crafted and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what about saber-toothed tigers? When was the last time you were chased by a wild animal? Yeah, you know who you have to thank for that? Those same people that oppress you so much. They took the predators out of the food chain. Imagine what life would be like if every time you went outside, you weren't worried about cops. You were worried about a fucking saber-toothed tiger eating you. Yeah, well, you don't live in that world. You're welcome. Yeah, men did that. Grown men with weapons who risked their own lives thousands of years ago. They took care of that shit. And you know what? I'm fucking grateful. Thank you. If I can reach through time and thank you, I'm doing the best I can, okay? Because I'm echoing your effort through time now, gentlemen. Thank you so much. We have all this time. We have all this time afforded to us by these great men. And I'm sure there were plenty of women involved too, keeping the men in line, keeping them healthy, keeping them happy. We've got gender roles, and the genders are good at different things. The fact that identity politics wants to make men into terrible women and women into terrible men, it's all just an attempt to squash us down and make us all into terrible people. I'm sorry. I would make a terrible woman, and I'm not even going to try. Instead, I'm going to try to be a great man, or at least a good man, or at least a grateful man. Okay? Call me an MRA, whatever. I'm not. Call me a misogynist. I'm not. I'm a realist. Okay? And look, Those great men from our past have given us so much. They've given us too much. In the fact that we're soft. We are soft right now, softer than we've probably ever been. And, you know, in that softness, it's allowed us to do some good things, sure. It's also given us so much time that we don't have the perspective to be grateful for the things that we have. You know, sometimes it takes a time where you feel like you're going to lose it all to realize what you did have. Just the ability to swallow water. When you don't have that, buddy, everything else comes into real sharp focus. Okay? Look, I love you all, and I don't like seeing all this hate being pushed. You've got so much time to sit around and hate and to talk about how you're hated and to talk about how you're being victimized and victimizing other people. You know, that's the cycle of abuse. You know, if you're really realizing that you've been abused or maligned, you know, I'm not denying that stuff happens. That stuff happens all the time. You know, there's one of my songs, I'm not going to mention who they are, one of my favorite hard rock, heavy metal songs, is about the cycle of abuse inside prisons. And it was one of the first times that I realized what that was. You know, where you enter into this situation and you're abused, and over time you become the abuser. Well, you see this all the time. You see this everywhere. You know, people that beat their kids, raise kids that beat their kids, and you know this cycle goes on and on and on. Where do you think pedophiles learn how to be pedophiles? Most of them were abused themselves, and they turn this thing that was done to them. And I've never really understood the process because I've never. I wouldn't say never. I try to avoid that cycle in my own life. You know, ever since being enlightened to this topic when I was a teenager, I try to notice it when it happens to me. You know, when things are done wrong to you, turning around and doing the same wrong things to other people, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't even things out. It amplifies it. It adds. It multiplies it. It doesn't just add. It multiplies that pain in the world, and it's not going to make you feel any better. It's going to make you feel worse. But folks, you've got to learn how to be grateful. Count your blessings. Look around you and think about the good things you have before you start criticizing all the things you don't have. You know, before you point your finger at someone else, realize that you're pointing 3 fingers back at yourself. You know what I mean? This isn't an easy world to live in, but it's a beautiful world to live in. The struggle is the best part. You don't realize it until you're past it. And then you need to be grateful for what you did and what was done for you and done with you. You know, the world isn't here to just give you things. The world is here to open up to you and allow you to earn the things that you can earn. Be grateful for those things. Cherish those things. Love those things. All right. I know this got a little heavy, but hey, at least I'm more positive. My last couple of videos were a little bit of a bummer, but look, guys, and you know, a lot of what the bummer was there was I already had that infection kind of coming in. It took a couple of days to really hit me. And it was already bumming me out. It was already sapping my energy. It was, you know, mentally and physically. And heck, I feel like there's a new fire inside me. And hey, you might notice I lost a little weight. I mean, I probably lost 10 pounds just not eating. And yeah, that's a nice little jump start. My ankle and my knee, which had been bothering me for a little while, you know, I was forced to stay off of them while I was sick. Now they're better. One of the things that helped me get out of the funk and start, you know, getting over the sickness was actually going out for a walk. Just going outside, walking out in nature, collecting some sunlight, getting the lymph system moving, the lymphatic system moving. You know, your lymph, it's like a secondary system in your body, like your blood. Your blood is pumped by your heart. The lymph doesn't move unless you move, though. And when you're sick and you stay still, that's how you get the swollen lymph nodes, because that's the stuff that fights off your sickness. But if you don't move, they get backed up. Well, sometimes the best thing you can do when you're sick is just go move around a little bit. And that's what I did. It made the huge difference. I came back from that walk. It was about a mile. I was so thankful that my ankle was doing well, because it had been 6 weeks since I had felt normal on my ankle. I mean, I had been walking on it a bunch, but it was not right. Well, it's finally right again. I'm so thankful that it's right again. My knee feels good. I'm so thankful that my knee feels good. I'm over my sickness now, and I'm so thankful that I'm over my sickness. I'm looking forward to everything now. And I have a new appreciation, a new gratitude for those things. Look into your own life. There's a lot to be thankful for. You might not even realize it until you start looking. But I tell you what, you're going to be glad you did. Okay? That ought to be enough of a lecture for today. I love you, and I mean it. Until next time.